Okay, hello and welcome to another business process breakdown. So today we are chatting all about content creation and also content recycling. So how do you go from one idea to reusing that idea across multiple platforms in a bunch of different formats in the most efficient way possible and without taking hours every single week? So, hi, if you're new here, my name is Anne-Sophie. I'm an operations consultant for health and wellness businesses where I help you save up to 10 hours every week. Okay, so let's dive into it. Let's briefly talk about why would you want to recycle content in the first place? Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple. One, even if you're just getting started, you should have at least one, if not two, social media platforms and potentially, sorry, let me rephrase that, and an email list. Okay, so that would already be two different places where you would want to reuse the same content. Now, why would you want to cover the same topics? That is because, think about it, everyone, like, people in your audience have their own preferences in terms of the type of content that they like to consume. Some people like videos, some people like text, some people like Instagram, some people like Facebook. And so might as well create content to reach these people in their preferred methods on their preferred platform. And then second is because, as we all know, some platforms, Instagram, don't actually show your content to your whole audience. So even even your greatest fan doesn't actually see all of your content. Therefore, by repurposing your content, you're just giving it an extra chance for people to see all of the different things that you have created. Okay, so now that is in the way, again, I just want to make sure that if you are starting, I'm in no way advocating that you need 15 different platforms. As I mentioned, one or two in email is what you should stick to. Which ones are right for you depends on, one, your preferences, what are you most comfortable working with, and then two, what your audience and your ideal client mostly uses. So it's up to you to decide. And today we're gonna dive into all the different ones that I have. You don't have to have all of these. I just thought it was a great example to cover a lot of different types of content. Okay, so without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so we're gonna start by listing all the different types of content that I have just so we make sure to actually write content for all of them. So obviously we're going to start off with YouTube would be our first one. This is really just for streaming purposes now, but still, it is there. Next up, I mentioned email, so let's write email here. I personally have a blog, so blog / articles would be another one. Then obviously, let's just say Instagram. And I've been playing around with TikTok. Yeah, I think that covers everything. We might have to come back to that in a minute, but for now, let's stick to those. Okay. So let's start with one that most of you are familiar with. So let's start with Instagram post. Okay, so all of these pieces of content would come from an idea, obviously. So let's just start with, and as per usual, we're going to outline the big steps, and then we're going to come back and all the different details. Then we have the draft. Then making the creative. Then I would have a review. Schedule. And so this is pretty standard for all of your content creation. You might notice that our last 3 steps, review, schedule, and publish, are going to come back pretty often, but I still want to have them out here just because this process might be slightly different for each type of content. For instance, the things I'm going to review for on an email aren't going to be the same as for Instagram, aren't going to be the same for TikTok, for instance. So I still want to have it all here. Now, I would like to mention too that I'm creating these based on the fact that I'm going to be managing all of this content creation through ClickUp. So I want to have all the information that I would need in order to go into my ClickUp account and create it right after this. Okay, so we're not actually gonna, I'm not gonna show you how to make it in ClickUp. This is just helping you brainstorm. Okay, so we have our content ideas, and personally, I would like to have this as a list. And from there, and from there, I'm thinking something like having 3 different statuses, where I have the brain dump, which is just all of my ideas. And then I like to have a filtering system. Good idea, bad idea, because obviously everything that you think of isn't necessarily worth putting out there. So this is kind of where I'm going to filter what is worth it and what is maybe not. And realistically, everything that would move forward is things that have been marked as a good idea. From there, let's just see, what would I want? Okay, so in my draft, I would want to make sure that I am including, this is for Instagram, so let's actually write that this is our Instagram process. And right here, I would want to have a hook, my actual caption, my call to action, and hashtags, which, there we go, hashtags. Creative is pretty straightforward. That would either be a picture or a video. Review, I would want to review for typos mostly. I would double check that my hashtags are still relevant in case I am moving the post to a different day or for a different event or whatever, but just making sure my hashtags are still relevant. Schedule, this happens in plan. And then publish, at which point I like to set up my content so that this automatically happens, simply because, as I mentioned, I like to schedule my content. I will batch create it, and so an automation is just a really nice way to make sure that the stuff that is already out is marked as such within ClickUp. So what I will do here is set up an automation which goes something like when due date arrives, that's how I set it up at least, then set as publish. So that way it is out of sight and out of mind. I know it's been taken care of. I know we're good. And I'm getting the most up-to-date information on this. Okay, so that would be for Instagram. Now, let's move on to another easy one. Let's do emails. Again, I'm not going to talk about all the benefits of email marketing, but please, 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 that should be one of your priorities when you're just starting. Have an email list. It's very easy to set up. I recommend using MailerLite. It is a free tool, and this would be the process for your email. Okay, so let's dive into it. So I'm going to work off of my content ideas again, and the email process is super straightforward, at least for me. So it would be draft, And then we just have review, schedule, because again, I created ahead of time, and then send. Okay. What do I want here? So the draft is pretty simple. I have a little list of the things that I try to be mindful of in my copywriting, and I guess that's what I would have is like a copywriting, honestly, checklist, but things to keep in mind. Tricks, let's call it that. There you go. Okay, review is probably where I have a bit more to do for email, because I would have typos, obviously, but the right images, links, double checking that it's the right links and that they work. So links, that's all I can think for now. I'm probably missing something, but that's all I can think for now. Schedule, that's pretty straightforward. And then sending out scheduling, that's going to be in MailerLite, although this is all really done. Like this goes to MailerLite like here. Actually, let's put it here for the sake of having things be the same. And we said that this was our email breakdown. Okay, from there, let's do articles. Articles are honestly super close to emails, and if you are part of my newsletter or if you check out my website, you'll notice that I'll definitely leverage both. Like I won't publish an article every single week, but when I do, I'll often summarize it or have it in my email to some degree. And honestly, the process for that is very similar. Review, let's put that a little bit bigger. Schedule, and this one is publish. Okay, and again, very similar other details and review items for this. Copywriting tricks I find don't necessarily apply as much. In this case, it would be more in the review would have a lot of differences. So we have typos, we have images, plus alt description, which this is one of the factors that play into your SEO, which is search engine optimization. So how your website gets found on Google. So images, alt text, I want all my links to work again. And I would want to make sure that my SEO is on point. If you're using a website builder like WordPress, you can have plugins that basically give you hints as to how to make your SEO better. So I just work off of that, and that is why I have a little SEO checkbox here. Schedule, that is pretty straightforward, and that is in WordPress. And then publish, which again, I would always have this little automation for each of these processes. I'd also like to briefly touch on the fact that all of my ideas, all of my things are being created from this same list. And that is on purpose. That is because when I come up with an idea for content, sometimes there's a specific platform or format that I have in mind, but sometimes it's just, oh, I should talk about this. So I like working off of the same list, and I'll go over in a minute how that is extremely useful, especially using ClickUp specifically. Okay, so we've done YouTube. No, we haven't done YouTube. We've done Instagram, we've done this, and we've done that. Okay, so let's do YouTube next, where this one's a little bit different. So obviously we're going off of our content idea, then we have the actual stream. And then I will make some edits. Oh, we said that was blog. And this is YouTube. Okay, perfect. So we said stream, we said edits. My edits aren't really intense. It's really just to kind of trim the beginning and the end, just so when you hop on the recorded version, you actually get the bulk of the video instead of a awkward waiting time, which is often the case in streams. Edit and then publish. Okay. So here we would have, as I mentioned, this is really just like beginning / end. I like to trim the ends. Then I will make sure that my description is on point. I might have gone a little bit, mostly off topic, but brought up points that I didn't think I would bring up initially when I announced the stream. So double check description. Whew. There you go, description. And I like to include the minutes for all the different topics, so it's easy for someone to hop in and find what they want right ahead of time. And that makes me think I forgot a step here. I forgot a step. So yes, this will happen. This is why I like to write it down first. And the first step would be to announce my stream. And for this, I would have the actual topic, the main points, thumbnail, and I will schedule it on YouTube and then announce it on Instagram stories. I count down. Okay, so that seems about right. And lastly, we have TikTok, which I'm gonna do briefly. Oh, can we have that in black? Okay, we have this, perfect, there we go. Okay, and then finally, TikTok, which is another slightly different one. So I would draft the idea, I would then film, then we do the edits. And at least from my understanding, you can't really do scheduling. It's kind of just, you have it there. So then it would be to publish. And oh, I guess I can write the little hashtags first. So I guess write the caption, which is very minimal on TikTok. And then publish. And here I'm going to put my hashtags, not to forget them. In my edits, I like to add a call to action again, which I guess I could add here as well. That's in the stream. We're good. This, I like to have a call to action. And this is why we write these down ahead of time. Make sure we've got all organized and we're not missing out on anything. Email, I like to have a call to action as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, I like to work off of the same content ideas list. And why this works for me, again, is because this way I can have everything in one place, and from there I can be, okay, this idea works really well across the board, so I'm going to have, let's say, a post per channel that is done on this topic. And when that happens, I can go into ClickUp and literally duplicate, have the one task into all of these different other lists. So content ideas is a list, but then all of these guys are also lists. Let's make sure you see that properly. There you go. All of these guys are also lists. And so one content idea can be in multiple places, which is fine because they're always going to have the same description. So that's where I can break down this one idea once, and then have all of the info for this idea that is replicated across all the channels where it will get used. And then through this, I can then follow all the different steps that I need to go through in order to publish this content piece on each channel. But at least it is centralized, it is in one place. And through ClickUp again, as you saw, we have different statuses, we have different things that I like to make sure are included in, obviously in the post, different things to review. And so what I'm going to do is that for each of these different channels, they will have each their own template. And it is through the template that I will break down exactly, okay, these are the things that I want to make sure I have in my draft. These are the things that I want to review. And that's how I make sure that I'm not missing out on anything, but I am still able to pull from the same idea that I already broke down once and that I can then repurpose across multiple platforms. And finally, you add the fact that I do content batching, which makes it super easy for me to really just get in the space of this one content idea. And from there to, okay, we're going to write the blog. That's going to be my big centerpiece for this idea. So let's say we take the example of time management. Why is time management important, or how can time management help you reduce stress? I would set that up as a blog article first, and then from there be like, okay, how do I want to break this down for an email? How do I want to break this down, potentially even in multiple posts or in multiple reels or TikTok videos? And you already took the time to break it down once, and then you can just recycle the different pieces, which would then get inputted into the appropriate lists with the appropriate checklist, so nothing falls to the crack. I'm not missing out on anything. And when I reach my block for content creation, I know exactly where each of these items are. All right, so I know this is a bit of a longer one, but I hope this was helpful. Honestly, content recycling is a really, really great tool to use when it comes to making sure that A, you're getting the most bang for your buck for the content you're creating, but also B, that your audience is seeing everything that you are creating and that you're just really getting your message across. So obviously, as always, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want me to cover a specific process, please comment it below. Also, you can find me on Instagram, blank there. Definitely give me a follow if you like this and if you want to see more of what I do. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Thursday.